Everybody, Nordschleife here. Welcome back to iRacing. Today is going to be a little bit different. I am recording a post-commentary over top of this race. And in fact, we're actually just going to basically have ourselves a little iRacing podcast. A little chat. This is the Nürburgring. The footage is of race number 3 this week. Once again, is that 3 weeks in a row? It's 3 weeks in a row that our third race was the one that took. But in this race, we're racing again very late at night. It was a single split race. We started second, and Jem wasn't able to make the race, unfortunately, because of hockey, I think. But he was a trooper. He ran 2 races with me earlier in the day, and he had some amazing results. I don't know if he has any footage. I'll see if he sends me anything. But he had some great races this week and got very, very good points. Jem is actually right up there. I think he's top 5 in points in Division 2 of Advanced Mazda, so I'm happy he's having a really good season because Jem's a really good driver, and I want to see him succeed. It's interesting, it's flabbergasting that we're actually so similar in iRating. Interestingly, this week, we were actually really similar in pace. We did qualifying, and for the Nords, you do an outside qualifying, so basically you do qualifying on your own time, not in the race session. And we did that, and we're within 4/10 of each other, which is really, really close when you have a lap time of 8 minutes and 12 seconds. So, yeah, we were quite pleased with that. Unfortunately, the first races of the week did not go well. Lots of incidents, just really, really messy, gross driving. An error on my part in the first race. My pit box was in a place I couldn't see. And when I went to pit, I missed my box because I couldn't find it. This is not a track that, like, you're using a pit road here that doesn't exist, basically. So I was very unfamiliar with it, and it was just a stupid, silly mistake. But I ended up getting taken out in that race anyway, so it didn't really matter. But in this one, starting second, in a field that's, much lower in strength of field, but felt pretty good. And honestly, it felt really good. Like, I honestly felt like this was one of the races that I, again, just felt very comfortable in the car, and I felt like I was on pace and should have been having good results. But it was, once again, a disaster. Just lots and lots of stupid incidents. I'm very sorry that I'm going to probably talk too much in this. This is why I don't typically do post-commentary. I just get very rambly and lose the point. So here, have a few moments of just hearing the car. So the front half of the field stays nice and spread out here. This is something we've been struggling with. It seems like in the earlier races we did, the front just really got jumbled together, and there was constant shuffling, and everyone was all messed up because they didn't know what to do. But a pretty good run here. So we have the one car who didn't qualify, probably going to be, cutting through the field. We're used to that. That's just the norm, apparently, with this series. Really weird part of racing here in these cars is the draft, because it's not very good. It's not enough to pass a car, basically. You catch a car, and then it's real hard to actually get by them, is the problem. So in a train like this, the first car is screwed, the second car catches the first, but the third car then catches the second, and the third car generally has the most advantage there. And you can see that's happening here. At this point, I'm super gun shy. I want the one car to go by, have at it. I just want to finish this race. It's been such a disaster, been having, a terrible day with incidents. I just want to finish the race, so I let them go to town there. Unfortunately, the 5 car catches us here at a pretty good clip, but
you got one on your left.
He very wisely backs off and lets us in there as we head up to the carousel. I gotta tell you, this version of the Nürburgring, of the Nords, so much better than the Assetto version, especially for this part of it. You can actually drive in the carousel in this version. I'm so sad. I'm so sad that I've lost my commentary audio for this race, because I can only imagine the things I said during that incident. I distinctly remember that my chest literally, legitimately hurt afterwards, and I had a heck of a time refocusing on the race, because it was... I thought I was done. Like, I was ready to hit escape and leave because I had crashed again. How I didn't get hit by anybody, especially the 5 that, you know, just decided to not hit the brakes at all and fly through there like an iRacer would. And, yeah, it was really, really surprising that we managed to live through all of that. But, you know, all good, all good. We move on once I eventually start to breathe again. What's interesting is the one barely really falls behind the pack. I know he hit the wall and got damaged, but these cars, unless you get suspension damage, really not a big deal. Apparently they're just so non-aerodynamic that aero damage just doesn't affect them. I don't know. Big bottom out there, and the car wants to slide. So the 2 car here, I don't know if he missed a gear, I don't know if he blew up, I don't know if he had a slowdown. Do you see how he cuts back in track in front of me there? Freaked me out.
Car on your right.
I take to the grass to avoid him, somehow hold the car together, and now I've got to like try and get this thing around the next few turns with grass on the tires, which is no fun. And I'm freaked out again, like, I didn't need that. Hopped it out of there, in the grass again. Ugh. I really think at this point, my confidence was shot, my nerves were shot. I really should have just packed everything up and done this race a different day, because I was so distraught by this point. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. So you know I've been having a rough time here with this series recently, and things have just not been going our way, as the 1 car behind us is in the draft and will probably draft by us by the end of the straightaway here. But it takes some time. Like I said, the draft is just not very good. So, yeah, just a lot of aggressive, non-respectful driving this season. And it's that kind of stuff that drove me away from iRacing the first time. That's why I went off and did my own stuff for a while. He's got the run. I'm like, you know what, just go for it. But then he says, you know what, just go for it. So we both lifted at the same exact moment there, which was pretty funny. But at least respectful. I mean, he knew he screwed up, knew he spun out, and nearly collected everybody in the field there. So, you know, at least showing some respect there. But overall, there has not been a lot of that this season. It's so much of people overdriving, so much of doing just stupid and silly things, being so very over aggressive. And the problem is, I don't seem to have what it takes to race that way. I still race, even though I do multiple races per week, because I don't want to leave you guys with nothing to watch, and I don't want, you know, to have a 2-lap race to show you. I still raced every race like it's the only race I can do, because that's how racing is. You don't get a second chance. Hey, that was a moment that I forgot about. Holy. Do I let the 1 go here? I think I should. Yep.
You got 1 on your left.
Yep. Off throttle, dragging the brake. You just go right ahead. Good job. Good job, past cone. That was very smart. But yeah, no, this is what I'm talking about. I race the race as if it's a real race. And that's the kind of stuff you would do, because it's just smart. That's the only way you're going to make it to the end of these things. That's not how people race in iRacing anymore. most of the field that runs a series like this, or just people that want to run a race, will do so 6 to 20 times a week. The same race, like this same race. 3 is a low number on average, I would say. And they're not doing it because usually, they get crashed out or something. They're not doing it because, they didn't feel like that was, a good show or whatever. They're doing it because it wasn't the one. They're doing it because it wasn't 110% every lap without incident. And that, I think, is a problem. Because nobody cares anymore about the race they're in. They're just going through the motions again and again until they get the result they want. And I feel like I'm a problem here, because that's what I'm doing now, isn't it? Like, this is my 3rd race this week, and I'm just trying to make sure I get a race in that's, decent enough to show. The difference is, of course, I'm generally being wrecked out of these races. Like, people are doing stupid things in front of me, causing me problems. Maybe you could debate last week. One of them was, my poor judgment. I misjudged a crash in front of me and got caught up in the crash in front of me. I'm checking my pit strategy there. Because you do generally need to pit in this race. You're like half a lap short, basically. But yeah, generally, I run every race as if it's the only race that I can run in the week. The problem is, if everybody else around you is not running that way, then you're just going to lose. Because everyone around you is going to be so aggressive, they're going to push you off track, they're going to jump back on track in front of you. Unfortunately, you would think if it was, a multi-attempt system, people, when they had a wreck or when they had it off, they would just call it quits. They would say, okay, well, this wasn't the race. But that's not, for whatever reason, what they do. They jump back into the race aggressively and it just has no respect for anybody else around them.
I think you've got about 2 laps left on fuel. I think you'll need a splash.
Good call, Spotter. I think we will need a splash. So, yeah, that's a big problem. There's some weird audio hangups in this. I don't know why. I don't know why this recording was so messed up. Why I didn't get my commentary audio. I don't know what happened. It's the whole week that this was recorded in was just hell. Like, everything that could happen that was bad happened during the span of this week. And this whole debacle at the Nords was part of that. As we now come up to the carousel again. I'm sure the one car was quite nervous about that. But yeah, I really do feel like iRacing would benefit on a whole level if they limited how many races you could run per week in a series. There's going to be backlash to that. People are going to be upset that they can't run 40 hours a week of races because they think, well, that's what they're paying for. I paid for the subscription to race, and you're going to tell me I can't race? That would be the argument. But I really just feel like they've set up a system of feeding into bad driving by doing that. Would it be frustrating if I only had 2 chances during a race and I got wrecked out in both of those? Yeah, it would be frustrating. But at least I would know at that point I got taken out by people that also ruined their opportunity for the week. They had repercussions to that, because as of now, there are no repercussions. They'll just go run another race. They don't care that they ruined their race and mine. They'll go do another one. Another thing that would, I think, help with is series participation. I didn't really want to run another Advanced Mazda. I've run this series before. I've run the MX-5, multiple times in multiple different games. And I've frankly just seen enough of it. The problem is there's just not that many series left that they have a lot of races per week. You might have some that only have 3 or 4 official sessions per week, and you'll have races with 5 or 6 cars. It's not very fun, and it's certainly not entertaining to watch when you have that. I believe if you restricted how many races people could do per week per series, you'd get a lot more spread there, because if you did have 40 hours a week to commit to just doing iRacing, hey, maybe you'll learn a few more series. A different kind of car as the 3-car nearly bends it right there. That was mighty close. I'm pretty sure at this point I decide I should pit on this lap and get out of this traffic. Because look at the delta this lap. 4.4 off. That's only because I'm having to let off because those cars ahead of me were holding me up. So yeah, I'm going to pit on the upcoming lap and try to get out of that traffic. Especially if nobody else pits with me. So yeah, I would hope that would be the way people would think about it. And it would really, I believe, only benefit iRacing. It would only benefit them in getting more people to be more serious. And I really think they could probably change their model if they did that too. And they could make it more acceptable for people. Because they could say, hey, we're going to limit how many races you could do per, week in a series. And we understand that means that you'd have to explore more options in order to run races, but we're going to reduce the price of content to match that. Because if you did that, way more people are going to buy content. People are going to buy different cars and different tracks to run different series. So you're going to offset the cost there. You're going to make more in content sales to make up for the fact that you lower the price of that. And more people will run more series. And I think that will help overall just the growth in iRacing. It's going to help broaden the picture a little bit because people have just picked series, and those are the series that get to live. Because the cars are either easy to drive, there's lots of setups available, some cool YouTuber is doing a series on them, so they want to be cool like somebody. That's why series live anymore, it seems. So I would really love to see them to make a change there for both reasons. Broaden people's horizons, get people racing in multiple series, and treat races like they matter. Because especially in this bubble, in this range of people with iRatings like 2,000 to 3,000, people are not treating races like they matter. I'm not saying it's everybody. Certainly Jem does not treat races that way. Certainly I do not treat the races that way, but I think we've seen quite a bit of evidence just in this season, and in previous ones that I've done, that people just do not treat the racing with any respect anymore. Nobody really seems to fear iRacing anymore. And I bet you I wouldn't either if I wasn't doing content on it. And because I don't have the voice and I don't have the time to run 13 races in a week, it really does matter to me. It matters that the race that I'm running goes well. My commentary is ruined too by the end. Like, my best commentary happens during the first race. My best commentary is when things are fresh. I'm talking about the track. I'm talking about, the unique demands of the week. As the 5 car has a problem up ahead of us here, which means, at least one of those cars we're going to leapfrog in this pit sequence. But yeah, it always has been. From the day one that I started doing iRacing videos, it's always been important for me for the commentary to really reflect what it's like to be racing, what it's like, what's going through my head on the challenges of the car and track and the cars around me. But by the third race, it's kind of just repeating myself. And it doesn't come off as genuine, I don't think. It's not as good. So for me, it's really important. So maybe I'm the only person that has this perspective. Maybe nobody else cares that there's so little respect in the racing anymore. maybe that's why league racing has always been better for me, but I don't really know anybody that does this kind of league racing. Short races,
on your right.
right here, total lack of respect, right there. That is 100% the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You wrecked multiple times in the lap, and then you just cut out on course right in front of a car that is approaching. What do you have to gain there other than, you know, the 1 second you're gonna make up from your mistake? Nothing. There's no reason to do that kind of stuff. But no repercussions. Might as well, right? Who cares? It's just one race. He won't mind. It's just one race. He can run another race. As you can tell, I'm a little fighty about this. All of this perspective comes from somebody who's I am extremely dejected currently. So much has just been going poorly for me that all of this on top of the iRacing stuff culminating together certainly is giving me a more sour perspective than the general public has, and I'm fully aware of that. My brother just always messages me before he watches these races and is like, so how much salt is there going to be this week? So obviously you guys know that it's just not been putting me in a great mood, which is a shame because I enjoy it so much when it goes right. When me and Jem can race, and me and others that, you know, race respectively can race, it is honestly the most rewarding sim racing in the world. It feels so good, it feels so real, and it feels like you're actually accomplishing something. That's what keeps me coming back, like a druggie. Nice run there. I mean, I really did feel like I had a good grasp of the track this week. I was so happy to qualify with a time so similar to Jem's. It's a shame we didn't get to race each other this week. We never did. And any of the other failed races where crap happened, me and Jem never got to race each other. Luckily, he had great races, so you know he was just way up the field. But I really wish we could have had, you know, some kind of battle here. Maybe it's just bad luck. Maybe it's just, you know, a slump, and the coin could be flipped the other way around at any moment, and things could just go extremely well. But I think even if things were going well, and I saw people racing the way that they are, I'd still feel the same way. And I certainly still feel the same way about the series participation. There's no reason people should be running 20 races a week of the same car track, of the same race, basically. You gotta share the love a little bit there. Think of like the old IMSA series, the Audi GTO and the Nissan GTP. That series has never had any participation because the car's too hard to drive. And people aren't willing to accept that they aren't going to do well every week. So they just don't run it. They go run somewhere that, you know, is easier to drive, quote unquote, that they can run 20 races in a week quickly and get the result, I guess. Like, that's what they do. iRacing's kind of become a battle royale. It's just, you go round after round after round, just hoping to be the last man standing. And that's not what racing should be like. At least if it's not literally demolition derby. Which in that case, you know, that's basically what it is. Okay, alright, so Jem's gonna start talking here soon because he joined. Actually, he watched the whole thing, but he started talking to me at some point. It is a real bummer we didn't get to race each other here.
Oh, Dodger, you scare me.
Yeah, I scared myself, Jem.
Yeah, I've been watching. Yeah, you might actually beat him.
Oh yeah, he's thinking that I might
It's gonna be really
come out
close.
in front of these cars that are about to pit because I've had a good lap versus their lap.
Steering was broken. Backed up. It was just kind of bad.
I think I was talking about the 5, because I was really upset that they come back on track.
One of the cars stayed out?
This is where it gets interesting.
All right, man.
Braver
White
man
flag at the line.
Me and Jim didn't see anybody that effectively stayed out and ran the whole race in our races this week.
Leader just hit his box.
So the leader pits, but the second place car doesn't.
8 minutes, 30.346. You're back in third.
And
Good job.
I actually do come out in front of the number 1 car. So by about 2.5 seconds, I was able to quote-unquote undercut him via pitting early and getting out of traffic. So, smart move. I think it worked really well. I'm happy with that. Kind of in the back of my mind, I don't think I'm going to stay in front of the 1. But I know it'll be very, very close for the 3 to make it.
It was also the car that spun out.
The 1 car. Yeah, the 1 car behind us is that car that spun out.
I did see. I've seen the entire race recently.
Virtual Gem from the past, stop talking over top of me.
I didn't want to say any I didn't want to say anything in Discord because I didn't want to scare you.
He did scare me when he started talking. Oh, a little sound hang up there. I was just reading comments on F1. Somebody suggested that it could be track IR that's causing hang-ups, so...
I'm shocked Riley didn't run straight to the back of you.
Now we're talking about the
He was
carousel
moving
crash.
right through the grass. Oh, that was terrifying.
And I think I mentioned there the pass in the grass.
Cone Dodger, you need to stop scaring me.
Kind of just running my pace here. There's nothing I can do besides stay in front of the 1. And, you know, we can generally keep...
He does have front end damage. So, it will make a difference down the straightaway. You might be able to get him on that final lap if you let him by.
Such a hairy turn right here, and I kind of overdrove. See, the 1 gains and gains and gains.
Yep. The guy behind you.
But he binned it. He crashed. Number 1 car crashed again right there. So now it's truly just between me and the 3. The problem is the 3 has the 17-second lead
One more time.
to coast, to save fuel. I don't honestly think he can do it, but all I can do is run my race and hope that it happens. Obviously, I don't want to bin it either. And one nice thing about the Nordschleife, I don't know, I'm not German. I shouldn't even be allowed to say that word. I can't even say English words right. The Nürburgring is that because there's so many turns, you get a lot of safety rating back. So there's a real positive for having low amounts of incidents in this race. I already know I'm not going to get more points than my previous best because there's just not enough cars in this field. It's not a high enough iRating. But, you know, we want to have a good race. Safety rating doesn't really seem to scare anybody anymore because they've learned that you can get it right back. All you have to do is run a couple time trials,
Major fuel saving right now.
a race like this, and you can recover your safety rating.
He is.
Quick as
He's
can
losing
be.
a bunch.
So we got the 3 car up ahead, saving fuel like crazy. He can save fuel all day long. I will not catch. I actually, in the first race where I missed my pit box, attempted to save fuel.
Yep.
I spun the car out and nearly binned it while trying to save fuel. It's very difficult. This is a very difficult car to save fuel with. So yeah, I don't really feel like safety rating is an effective part of iRacing's model at all currently. It's honestly become basically irrelevant. Maybe it was always irrelevant, but in my mind it was always something that was important. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in these thoughts, and that's fine. I don't ever, in any of these kind of opinionated, videos I do, I understand that my perspective is different than everybody else's. And, well, not everybody, but, you know, it could be different than everybody else's. And I accept that. It's just part of how it is. I'm just letting you know how things appear from my view. Close in a few seconds there. No pressure from behind at this point. One car must have really binned it because he's off the radar now. This part of the track is so treacherous. It's so easy to crash here. If you look up the Nürburgring crash compilations, almost all of them are from this section of the track. These cars are always so dancy. I still feel like this car is way too slippery. As somebody who was very familiar with the Spec Miata class in the real world, and I've watched enough like Mazda Cup in the real world, the cars just seem so much more stuck than this. These cars seem like they're on ice in comparison. I know they're working on tire model stuff that maybe will fix that, but not glowing reviews so far on the new tire model for the Skip Barber car, so not really hopeful about that. But it's the same for everybody. No, everybody's dealing with the same dancy car. Some cars get airborne right there, and it's real awkward as you head up this right-hander. Interesting as it sounds, these races scare me and are so much more stressful for me than the F1 races were or are. A, it's against AI over there, and B, even in a car like this, the amount of precision, the amount of control that you have to have is well and truly next level. It is way harder to drive this car in iRacing than the F1 cars in the F1 game. Maybe not at regular speed, but to try to be competitive with this car, it's wild. So we're on the straightaway. He's 14 seconds ahead. If he's going to run out, he needs to run out right about now.
About the same. He's not sputtering yet. Yep. He's actually sputtering right now. Oh yeah, you made the right move of hitting that second lap. Just doing the opposite of whatever they did.
I did the right thing, but I didn't manage to get the result. 3 car crosses the line with the win. Would have been a nice icing on a cake of poo for the week to have won this race, but
Car stopped ahead.
I think I did everything I could possibly do right,
There's the flag.
and
It's over.
we shouldn't even be alive. We should have died in this race.
That was one of the
Great
most
job, driver.
terrifying races to watch.
Jim was freaking out watching that, apparently. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on iRacing. I'm not ready to bail by any means. I'm still committed to doing the season, and I'd like to do more in the future. But I really do feel like something needs to give. Something needs to change.
Well, he apologized for spinning in front of you.
Yeah, the guy that spun out was very apologetic for what happened there. Of course, I want to see more of that incident because, oh man, we narrowly escaped disaster. And it's this kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Hate him
just
that much.
car sympathy that I feel like people should generally be racing with, but don't.
He must have been saving since the start of the race.
I was shocked that the 3 made it because it seemed like we were racing pretty hard.
Yeah.
Change those cameras, Cone.
I probably could have got into this race, but I looked over at iRacing, saw you.
He hopped the banking is what it was. Oh, he did actually hit another car. I didn't think there was contact. Kudos to the 3 there. Kudos to the 3 for...
The guy who passed in the grass, I'm pretty sure he's streaming.
Kudos to the 3 for stopping.
Yeah, he's a streamer.
The other guy, this guy right here, in the red car, that slides to the right, that guy right there is everything that's wrong with iRacing. Because he never hit the brakes, he never lifted, he never did anything. Oh, man. Well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed post-commentary, Cone. Probably not. I'm sure it's not as interesting as regular commentary, and I'm sorry about that. But the rest of the season, sprint races, so that's nice. That's good. And let's hope that we can turn things around, huh? Huh? Someday. Maybe. Probably not.